Hello everyone, my name is Liv and welcome back to my channel and welcome to episode 1 of Wreak Journal. I have done one of these before, but I was quite young back then, so I'm excited to start a brand new one, and we will be starting with the This Book Belongs To page. I started off by sketching out this floral design with my pencil off camera, and now I'm going in with some black paint and doing the outline, then using my fine liners for the smaller details. Now that I finished the outline, I'm just going in with my Crayola markers, and we're going to be using these markers as watercolor by taking a piece of plastic and putting the marker down. Then you take a water brush and add some water to the ink, and then when you go to brush the color on, it gives a really nice watercolor effect, and it also lightens the color so the color won't be as dark as it was originally. For the background here, I'm just using the marker ink and the water that's on the plastic and stamping it down onto the page. Now moving on to the other side of the page, I'm using my apple barrel paints to paint the very familiar Rainbow Kitty for my intro, and all the art supplies that I used in this video will be in the description as always. And I'm adding acrylic flow medium to the paint so it flows better. And for the background, I'm taking my watercolors and just copying the colors from the kitty's tail onto the background with a water brush. Now to finish off the page, I'm taking my multicolored microns and filling out the page, writing my name in white, illegibly, etc. Once the page is complete, I seal the page using Liquitex matte varnish. You can also use tape or Mod Podge, but I found that matte varnish works the best. If you do use it, be careful though, because if your fine liners are not completely dry before you apply it, it will smudge. The next page says doodle over the top of the cover, title page, instructions, and copyright page. I'm going to start with the instructions page. I sketched out my design and used this cute cat paperweight to weigh the page down. Then I started outlining my drawing. I decided to go with a Dr. Seuss theme, and for the left side of the page, I turned the instructions arrow into a sign for all the different Dr. Seuss locations: Seussville, Mount Crumpet, Whoville, and Grinch's Lair, and colored them in with watercolor pencils and white paint for the snow. I loved the Dr. Seuss books growing up, and I loved The Cat in the Hat, so this page was very nostalgic for me. For the second side of the page, I drew the truffula trees from the Lorax movie and colored them in with watercolor pencils. I used white color pencil and a blending stump to blend in the color pencils. You can also use solvents like Zest-It Pencil Blend to blend in color pencils. I wanted to make the instructions the focal point and have the trees in the foreground, so I filled in the letters with black paint. And here is how the page turned out. We're now moving on to decorating the cover, and for this I took some wrapping paper I found at a discount store and used Mod Podge and a sponge brush to glue it onto the cover. Then I took my plastic cat scraper to smooth out the paper and cut off the excess. For the decorations, I'm adding lace to the side of the book, some letters to spell out Wreak This Journal, and some pearls for a nice border around the words, and I also put a few around the journal to finish it off. For the title page, I tested out these new Unipen fine liners, and I got these because I wanted to see if they would bleed through the pages less than the Microns and the Ohuhus, but they all still kind of bleed the same. My favorite are the Microns, but I still really like these because they don't smudge and they're waterproof. I drew my design on a separate piece of paper, and I got these watercolor markers from Typo for Christmas, and I wanted to test them out. They're a little tricky to get the hang of at first, but they work really nicely and the colors are all really pretty. I'm using crayons for the background, and If you want your crayons to have a smooth, nice texture, what you can do is color using firm pressure and then take an old card and scrape away the top layer of crayon, leaving you with a smooth surface. Here's how the page turned out, and I really like it. I think it's really pretty. The final page we're going to be doing is the copyright page, and I used my apple barrel paints and painted some rainbow squares. Once the background was finished, I drew some cute little penguins. There's 12 of them in total. Once I finished doing all the black and white for the penguins, that's when I went in and touched up the penguins a little bit with my fine liners, and then adding some color to them with my paints, some orange for their beaks and their feet, and then other colors for the accessories that they have. And here are all the adorable little penguins. I think they're so cute. This is the last page, and I drew 2 mandalas here. The first one is a lotus and the second one is a flower mandala. I use colored pencils for this, and personally I don't use colored pencils very often because I find they're a bit tricky to work with, like getting the shading right, texture, blending, and using all the right techniques. It took a while for me to learn how to use colored pencils properly, but with a lot of research and a lot of practice, I was able to get it looking really nice. I do love how the final result looks, and all that hard work of researching and practice definitely paid off. This is one of my favorite pages in this book by far. For the background, I just used some watercolor paints. The background's finished, I went over the mandala flowers with a thicker fine liner as well as the words to make them stand out. That's all the time I have for today. The page turned out looking beautiful. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell, and stay creative. Bye!